Now, what ends up happening is you've been asked to prove a ratio, you've proved that ratio, and if you haven't proved that ratio in a test, you skip the second part of that question. Don't do that. It now asks you to hence determine tan 75. All it's asking you to do is wherever there was an x, you're going to put a 75 degrees. So if I take my right hand side and I say 1 minus cos 2 times 75 degrees all over sine 2 times 75 degrees, I end up getting 1 minus cos 150 all over sine 150. I have got an angle that is larger than an acute angle, and as soon as I see that, I think reduction formula. So I end up going 1 minus cos, how do I get 150? Well, I can go 180 minus a special angle 30 all over sine, and I can do the same thing there, 180 minus 30. Now remember, my reduction formula exists on a Cartesian plane, and I've got cos that I need to deal with, and I need to understand where I am when I'm dealing with cos 180 minus 30. So 180 minus 30 takes me into this quadrant. There's your 180 degree line, that's your minus 30. In this quadrant, the only trig ratio that is positive is sine. Therefore, what happens to this cos? It becomes a minus, and two minuses next to each other becomes a positive cos, and I use the acute angle that I've just developed, 30 degrees, all over sine 180 minus 30. Again, it's in the sine quadrant, it stays positive, so it becomes sine 30 degrees. And because I know my special angles, when I'm dealing with my special angles, and I erased them and I knew I shouldn't have, but I know that this one is 30 degrees. I know it goes 2, 3, so it's root 3 and 1. That's my 30 degree. I know this unit length is always 2, and this is your x coordinate, that is your y coordinate, and this represents your r. So according to cos 30 and sine 30, and you can plug it in your calculator. When they say don't use a calculator, it means don't use it up until this point. But when you get to your special angles, don't mess up your special angles if you can't remember them from your Cartesian coordinate. Plug them in your calculator. You end up getting 1 plus cos 30 is x over r. What is my x value? It's root 3. Over r ends up being 2. All over sine 30, 1 over 2, y over r, right? Let's just write that there, y over r. So it ends up being 1 over 2. Now this is a very ugly fraction. You can change that. On the top you want to get the same denominator. How do you change a 1 to have a 2 denominator? Well, it's going to be 2 over 2 plus root 3 all over 2. And all of this is divided by a half. And if we divide tip and times by 2 over 1, right? So here we have 2 plus root 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. Cancel the 2's, guys. They can cross simplify, which means you're left with the final answer of 2 plus root 3. And that is how you determine what tan x is. Therefore, tan x is equal to 2 plus root 3. You needed to understand that you needed to substitute that 75 into these values, apply the double angle, do reduction formula to reduce it to an acute angle. As long as that acute angle is a special angle, we can go further with it and simplify it using our special angles. I hope that all makes sense to you. It's a pretty easy one. Don't lose unnecessary marks in your exams because you are scared that you didn't prove the first part, therefore you can't do the second part of the question. Do not underestimate yourself. The second part of the question is just substitution in this regard.